Los Angeles County Chamber of Commerce. It's been an event that has been going on for several decades. It is a pleasure to bring it to you, and we are pleased that you are here with us this evening. Before we proceed on, I would like to introduce to you the current president of the Trinidad Los Angeles County Chamber of Commerce, Linda Barron.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Trinidad Los Angeles County Chamber of Commerce. Meet the candidate night. My name is Linda Barron. I am president of the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. The Chamber has hosted this event since the early 1980s, with many years hosted by the late Mr. Dennis Malone. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I would like to introduce Mr. Ed Griego, our moderator for this evening. Thank you, Mr. Griego.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you again for being here. I will give you an outline of the program this evening so you'll know what to expect as we proceed on. First of all, I would like to acknowledge and thank individuals and organizations for assisting this evening. I would like to obviously thank the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this for all these years, and again this year. Trinidad State Junior College for providing us with this wonderful venue, Masari Performing Arts Center, the radio station KCRT, Trinidad Times Television, Mr. Tom Murphy, the Chronicle News, the Huerfano World Journal. We have our panel this evening that are made up of members of the press. Starting on this side, Mr. Clerk Loudon, Mr. Eli DeBono. I'm sorry, Mr. Clerk Loudon of the Trinidad Chronicle News. I better say where you're from. Mr. Eli DeBono, who represents KCRT Radio, and Mr. Bill Knowles of the Huerfano World Journal. I got it out. I would like to thank you, the members of the audience, the radio listeners, and those who viewed this broadcast on Trinidad Times Television Channel 71. Lastly, but most importantly, I would like to acknowledge and thank the candidates who have chosen to run for public offices. Campaigns can be very strenuous, time-consuming, and very emotional. Each candidate should be commended for the time and the effort they have put forth in their quest to be a public servant, which includes their presence this evening. Meet the Candidates is an opportunity for candidates to present themselves to the voters and to provide views and opinions related to relative issues. Meet the Candidates is not a debate. The time limitations will apply. Therefore, I advise the candidates that will be answering questions to be prudent in their presentations and responses to questions in order to maximize their allotted time. I also encourage the various candidates to provide information to the audience, either here tonight or those who will be listening or watching the recorded version of this forum, to be able to have contact if members of the constituency or members of the voting public need to contact you. It would be wise that you provide any contact information that you feel appropriate this evening. I need to remind everybody that no food or drink is allowed in the auditorium, please. The proceedings are going to be, each candidate will be allowed up to 5 minutes for opening statements, with up to 5 minutes for closing statements. There will be questions posed by the panel made up of members of our press from Trinidad. Those questions, you will be allotted 60 seconds for the answering of those questions. At 50 seconds into it, we will give you the additional warning, and at 60 seconds, you'll get the time's up. We will also take questions from the audience in written form. Ambassadors from the Chamber of Commerce will have paper and pens that you can jot down those questions. They will be brought forward, and prior to those questions being asked, obviously, we will screen those to be appropriate for the occasion and who they're being asked. We are also live this evening on KCRT Radio. Anyone wishing to call in questions when it becomes time for the questions to be asked, you may call 719-680-4498. That being said, I will tell you the order in which we will have presentations this evening. Starting first this evening will be the Purgatory River Water Conservancy District, who is represented this evening by Mr. Steve Kastner. We will have Trinidad School District number 1 this evening, is represented by Bonnie Aaron and Mr. Paul Montero, President of the Trinidad School District number 1. I expect to have Los Angeles County Treasurer Joey Amato, Los Angeles County Assessor Joey Amato, Los Angeles County Treasurer Donna Leonetti is unable to make it this evening, but she did provide me with a few remarks that she wanted to be relayed this evening. She just recently had surgery and she's unable to make it. Los Angeles County Sheriff Derek Navarrete and Los Angeles County Coroner Julie Berger. Although they are not the only candidates, these are the only ones that responded to me that would indicate that they would be here this evening. We will have an intermission, and once we get through that portion of the program, again, there will be refreshments out front, but please remember there is no food and no drink allowed in this facility as far as in the audience. Following intermission, we will have the presentations and the Q&A sessions of Los Angeles County Recorder candidates, Patricia Beachby Hill and Mr. H.L. Bowman. Following them, we will have the candidates for Los Angeles County Commissioners, Mr. Dean Moulter, Mr. Felix Lopez, Mr. Dan Rossetti, and Mr. Tony Hass. So with no further ado, I think I will call the representatives from Mr. Steve Kastner from the Purgatory River Water Conservancy District.
Thank you very much, Ed. I am Steve Kastner, the General Manager of the Purgatory River Water Conservancy District. Myself and Thelma Lujan are the entire staff. We're right here in Trinidad. Our office is in the, I guess I'm not sure what the building is, the National Resource and Conservation Service building, right by the movie picture show house on East Main. The district on this election has a ballot issue. We would like to de-bruce our district. We're not looking to raise taxes, simply to allow us to bring in external grant money to this community for the general purpose of improving the irrigation systems, the ditches, ditch channels, and somewhat maybe the partnership and river channel cleanup through town and below town. We want to do that right now under Tabor. We cannot bring in money without affecting our mill levy, and so that is our goal. A little about me, I came down here, I used to work for the Colorado Division of Water Resources out of Pueblo for 25 years, and one of my jobs at times was overseeing the Purgatory River water rights and the water rights administration here. I retired from that job, and 3 years ago, 2016, late summer 2016, came down here and this local district hired me as their general manager. It wasn't too long till we could see the need for some improvements. The local ditches and ditch companies and irrigators just don't always have the money. Construction costs go up. The experience of getting grants and things like that aren't always there. So as a district, we view it as one of our, I won't say responsibilities, but one of our goals is to help our member irrigators keep the economy, the agricultural economy here local strong as we can, and that's what we're trying to do. I mentioned mill levies. The district receives about $260,000 a year in mill levies for property owners within our boundaries. Our boundaries include the city of Trinidad and down to Honey and Model along the Purgatory River. We have obligations of, on average, $80,000 a year we have to pay to the Bureau of Reclamation. That's our construction loan payment. We're the entity responsible for paying back the federal government for the cost of constructing Trinidad Dam. We don't have to pay the whole cost. It's actually just the irrigation and municipal components of the project. $6.5 million. We have a 70-year contract to pay it back. We're about halfway through. Our other big bill is to the Corps of Engineers, who operate and maintain Trinidad Dam on a daily basis. They currently bill the district about $180,000 a year. So the $180,000 to the Corps, the $80,000 to the Bureau, basically equals our mill levy amount. We have some other income, and we also assess assessments to our member ditch companies to help with those costs. That's how the system was set up. But it doesn't really leave money for additional projects, and that's what we're trying to do, Bruce, and go out and bring in extra money to the irrigation community to try to improve what currently exists. So some of the examples, real quick, we want to improve canals, maybe line some canals, irrigation efficiency projects, try to help with more sprinklers. If you travel down Highway 350 east of town, you may have noticed a few center pivot sprinklers now. Those are new to this area. They use water more efficiently and provide some flexibility that normal flood irrigation doesn't, things like that. There's entities locally that are working on the river walk projects, removing invasive phreatophytes like Russian olives and tamarisk. We can partner with them to keep an efficient, from our point of view, an efficient river channel that doesn't have any more losses due to seepage or vegetation, invasive vegetation that is necessary. More measuring and telemetry equipment so we can more efficiently administer our ditch structures and water rights in this district. So we basically use all the water we're entitled to. And I think that is my opening statement. And I guess if there's any questions.
You want to answer questions now?
I guess my closing is we're not looking to raise taxes. We're just trying to help the local irrigated agricultural economy here. Part of that includes the city of Trinidad and some water rights they own. They're very tightly tied to this project in this district. So it's also for the benefit of the residents of the city as well. And that is all I have, unless there are questions, and whatever time questions are.
Do members of the press have any questions they would like to pose to Mr. Kessler? Mr. Knowles.
So, Steve, you talking about debrucing, and you also mentioned a tax increase. Is that
No tax increase.
No tax increase on it. Now, the debrucing that'll help you increase what's coming on your mill levy already.
Not increase the mill levy. It'll allow us to seek grants to do the projects I mentioned without affecting our mill levy income. Under Tabor, grants count as income, and we're limited on the amount of money we can come in and bring in under Tabor. But if we can debruce, we'll be free to bring in other monies, not additional mill levies at all. Just generally, it would be money from the federal government or the state of Colorado. There's grant programs designed to assist irrigation structures. That's what we're after.
Okay, I've got a couple more. One of the numbers that I heard a while back, and I'm just just going to pick on flow gate. Because of that, at the time that I heard, it was about $5,000 to fix or repair or actually purchase materials to construct a flow gate. And understand that there are flow gates all up and down the system that need to be replaced. Is there a count on how many of those are damaged?
We have 10-member ditches, and whether it's a head gate off the river to divert water, or it's a siphon or a flume along the ditch to transport the water to their fields or their place of use. There's, things crumble, things erode, things decay, things need continual maintenance. It's those kind of things we'd like to attend to. Satellite gauging to put in a ditch or a river diversion. I don't know how many of you go on the internet, but you can go and get flows of there's probably 20 satellite gauges in this area. You can get a flow every 15 minutes of what's going on, what's coming into Trinidad Reservoir, what's coming out of Trinidad Reservoir, what a lot of these ditches locally are diverting. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Steve. Gentlemen, let you know he was multitasking this evening. He came and needed to make this presentation. He also has to head down. This is the evening that they have the monthly meeting of the Purgatory River Water Conservancy District, but he was gracious enough to be able to be here this evening to provide this information. That's why I've got the water. And so that he can also make that meeting this evening. So we do appreciate your time. And thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
I was somewhat remiss at the beginning of the evening. I wanted to point out and mention a lot of other people that are assisting with this evening, because as the evening goes and other things happen, I may forget them. So I want to bring it forward now before we proceed on. As I mentioned before, we have the members of the panel, Mr. Kurt Loudon from the Chronicle News, Mr. Eli DeBono from KCRT, and Bill Knowles from the World Journal. We have Mr. Tom Murphy recording this evening for Trinidad Times TV. We have sitting in the broadcast booth here, Mr. Bob Herrera, and back at the radio station, Mr. Jackie Phillips. Our timer this evening is Mr. Brad Gordon. He's the one that's going to keep everybody honest. We are going to be the collector of those questions this evening. We're going to have the audience questions collected by the individuals in the red shirts known as the Chamber Ambassadors. And any text questions that are received this evening will be received and be put forth by Ms. Sherry Jacobson, also of the Trinidad Los Angeles County Chamber of Commerce. Second up this evening, we have a presentation by the Trinidad School District number 1 regarding two ballot initiatives, 4A and 4B. For some people that you recently saw, it at one time was known as 3A and 3B, but they'll explain, I guess, this evening why those changes have occurred. So with no further ado, I will bring forth Ms. Bonnie Aaron and Mr. Paul Montero, President of the School Board, Trinidad School District number 1.
Thank you, Ed. Good evening. On behalf of the Trinidad School District number 1 Board of Education, I thank the Chamber, TSJC, and everyone who has worked to provide this opportunity to explain our ballot issues. The Bond Mill Levy Committee is made up of community members and Trinidad School District number 1 staff working together to promote these ballot issues. The Colorado Department of Education preferred a general obligation bond for the grant match. And since bonds can only be used for capital improvement projects, the mill levy override is necessary to fund other operational expenses. As we go on with this show, if you notice to my right, you see a bunch of slides up on the screen. We've got that in a loop, hopefully showing what some of our needs are in the district. You can see where some of the conditions require some maintenance and some change. During the last 10 years, our district has lost over $11 million in funding due to the negative factor. Basically stated, the legislature is mandated to fund school districts at a certain level. They set that funding, and they're also mandated to balance the state budget, so then they come and take some of it back. And that's called a negative factor, and that's where we've lost over $11 million in the last 10 years. So due to this lack of funding, Trinidad School District number 1 has been unable to update our buildings, our infrastructure, our technology, staff salaries, and our bus fleet. The first step we took was to hire an engineering firm to complete a facilities master plan. Before you can apply for a grant to the Colorado Department of Education, you have to have an updated facilities master plan. We did that about a year ago. That plan came back and said that we had a lot of needs all over at all of our campus sites. But the most pressing need was at our Trinidad Middle School, which is the old high school, built in 1911 and been in continuous use since then. And it's starting to show a bit of its age. So, when we put this grant in, we had a team from Trinidad School District 1 that wrote up the grant. We turned in the grant to CDE, and we found out that we were rated number 10 out of 31 applications that went into the state, which was pretty good, except for the fact they only had enough money to fund 8 of them. The good news is, though, other districts have to pass mill levy overrides or bond issues in order to come up with their share. If any of those fail, we can move up in the queue this year. If everybody gets their bond and mill levy and we don't move up this year, we will reapply again in January. And if we have our bond issue passed already, that even makes us a step higher when we go in for approval the second time around, because they know we've got the money to do our part. The cost of this entire project is $13,186,008. The BEST grant will pay for 64% of that. So our district has to come up with $4,746,962, and that's in the form of the bond that we're going for. The bond is item 4B on your ballot. The 20-year general obligation bond will provide the matching funds for this BEST grant. The last time our district passed a bond issue was back in the year 2000, and that will be paid off in 2020. So, you want to look at what this kind of thing, a bond issue, might have to do with your taxes? Well, based on a home value that's appraised at $100,000, and I'm going to use that base throughout my explanation, the cost would be $2 more a month, or $24 a year from you if your house is appraised at $100,000. And the other part of that is, on average, seniors who qualify for the Colorado homestead exemption would pay half of that. The state backfills the rest of that for us. So it would reduce theirs to only $1 a month for those people in that category. In the year 2020, the current bond will be paid off. So in 2021, that whole issue of collection will go away and your mill levy will go back down, because we won't have to collect for that bond any longer. The next item on our ballot is going to be 4A, which is a mill levy override we talked about. A mill levy override asks the voters living in the Trinidad School District to approve the collection of additional mills on property taxes above the current rate. And this is the only way that a school district can collect additional operating funds. Again, what will that cost the taxpayer? Based on an appraised home value of $100,000, the cost would be $3 more a month, or $36 a year. And again, if you qualify for the Colorado homestead exemption, it would be half that. This request will be for only 10 years, and it will terminate at that time. So now the next question is, as a voter, what if you approve both of these? Well, based on, again, that $100,000 value, the cost would be $5 more a month for you, or $60 a year. In the year 2020, as I said, the other bond will go away, so that'll drop down to $3 in 2021. That's your additional cost. And again, if you qualify for the Colorado homestead exemption, it's going to be half of that. It's going to drop down to $2.50 and then all the way down to $1.50 a month. So that would be the cost for you if you passed both issues. Some other facts that you may or may not want to know. Of the school districts in Colorado, Trinidad School District ranks 161st out of 178 districts in total levy rate. 89% of students in Colorado attend districts that receive funding through a mill levy override. Of 64 counties in Colorado, Los Animas County ranks 61st in median property taxes. Finally, we provided a lot of the numbers for you to digest at this time, but really, it's about the children. In the end, don't you really want what is best for your children and your grandchildren and our community? Because the children are our future. Thank you.
All right, members of the press, are there any questions that you would like to pose to the representatives from School District Number 1? Did we by chance receive any in that, those audience questions to enable pertain to this particular topic? We're just making sure, because we are starting to see a volume of questions coming in, and they may be in advance of other candidates coming up here, but at this point, we need to determine whether or not they apply here. Not. Paul, I think you may have a couple of minutes left. Is there anything else you all like to say? A couple more minutes, please.
Good evening. Thank you for being here. I'm Bonnie Ayer, Superintendent. I got here in February, and so I got to jump right on board with these ballot initiatives. We have 2 ballot initiatives, as Mr. Montero mentioned, that will be coming up for approval in this upcoming election. The decision that voters will make will change the future for Trinidad students. With the approval of 4A and 4B, we can accomplish the following goals for our students and teachers. And if you're from here and you were watching the slideshow, you will see some familiar pictures of if you went to school here, at any of our schools. I think it covered all of our schools. So Paul covered the financial part. I'd like to talk about some of the details of what that money will buy. And you can see it, but I'm going to read it in case you can't decipher what that picture is, because there's so many pictures. So 4B will renovate the middle school, such as adding HVAC, replacing windows, correct drainage, upgrade electrical, replace the generator, upgrade the lighting, upgrade plumbing fixtures, replace the exhaust ventilation fans, replace tile floors and the failing subfloors, replace the water damaged floors, upgrade the science room, repair the structurally significant water damage in the auditorium, and tuck pointing to the outside structure. 4B will also provide safety upgrades, including signage, fire alarms, ADA restrooms, and interior and exterior upgrades. Security features will include increased security camera system and security cameras, and upgrade telecommunications. The technology features include a sound system, audio-visual, TV, DVD, and data system upgrades. That's all just for that one general obligation bond for the renovation of the middle school to get our local match for the BEST grant. Now 4A is the mill levy override, and it's to provide upgrades to safety and security at Eckhart Elementary, Fishers Peak Elementary, and Trinidad High School. 4A will also provide students and staff with technology infrastructure, equipment upgrades, and enhanced safety and security at the existing buildings. 4A will help develop a replacement schedule for the district's aging fleet of buses. TSD1 has one of the oldest fleet of buses in the state. Everything and everyone in Trinidad is connected. The sustainable support for schools means great schools will bring long-term benefits to our community. That's why saying yes to both 4A and 4B is a win-win for the district and the community. You can contact me at 680-0242 if you have questions that don't get answered tonight.
Okay. We do have a
Question
question.
from the audience, Mr. Grego. It's for Dr. Ayer. When was the last asbestos or mold test taken for the Trinidad Middle School?
I would imagine it took place during the master plan evaluation in 2016 or 2017.
In addition to that, we annually have to file an asbestos report with the state on all of our buildings. This one would have been more intensive because they were planning on what it is that they have to do any asbestos or mold abatement in the buildings in this particular project. And that had to be part of the grant that went into CDE. They asked all those questions.
More questions? If not, we want to thank Mr. Paul Montero and Ms. Bonnier for being here this evening. It was very informative, and we wish you the best of luck in the upcoming election with your initiatives. Thanks so much. At this time, I would like to have the following individuals come forward, and I will name them as what their positions are. Los Angeles County Assessor Jody Amato, please have a seat at one of the tables. Again, Los Angeles County Treasurer Donna Leonetti will not be present this evening. Los Angeles County Sheriff candidate Derek Navarrete. Los Angeles County Coroner candidate Mr. Judy Burker. As I announced earlier, each candidate will have the opportunity to make opening statements and an equivalent amount of closing statements if you feel you can't incorporate it in your original opening presentation. The members of the press are invited to ask questions if you have any, and I'm sure the candidates are ready, willing, and able to answer those questions. So in order that I asked everyone to come up, I would ask first, please, Los Angeles County Assessor, Ms. Jody Amato. Sorry.
Good evening, and thank you for coming out to meet the candidates. I am Jody Amato. I have been the County Assessor for the last 4 years. I have been in the office of the County Assessor's office for over 16 years. I am asking for your support and your vote in the upcoming re-election. I have enjoyed serving the county, and I've enjoyed the position I'm in, and I feel very, very privileged to be able to run again and be able to serve hopefully again in the next 4 years. I am the second vice chair of the Colorado Assessors Association. I am also a member of the Colorado Assessors Tax Association. In my first term of office, I have been able to offer free public access to the County Assessor's website. I have been able to implement the GIS mapping system, which we are currently GISing the county as we have funding for, which has made my office more efficient and the data we can provide out there more efficient and more usable and valuable. We have passed every audit. Every year my office is mandated by the state of Colorado. There's a mandate that we get audited by a private auditing company. We have passed it every year for the past 16 years with flying colors. We passed again last year and we passed again this year, which I am very proud of my staff and myself because it takes a lot of work to get those done. I have won all of my Board of Assessment of Appeal cases that have been brought to me when people dispute the valuation. This is the first year we've had that many go to the state, and I am proud to say that we have won them, and the state board has upheld the valuation and my work. With dedication and hard work, I have been able to perform all the duties and responsibilities that my office is mandated by the Colorado State statute. Even in the toughest of times that Los Animas has faced and gone through, my office, with the help of the great people that I get to work with, we were able to serve the public. We were able to continue to do our jobs to the best of our abilities, complete a 40,000 parcel reevaluation in our county, and we did it on a 3-day work week. So I am very proud of my staff, and I am very grateful that they followed me through that tough time and allowed me to lead them to accomplish what needed to be done for the betterment of our county. I will continue to serve the people of Los Animas County with integrity, knowledge, and experience. I will continue to strive for education, to better myself, and I've always said, if you come to my office and we don't have an answer, we will continue to find an answer for you. That way we all learn and we are all moving forward to better this county. I want to thank the residents and the people that vote in Los Animas County for their past support of allowing me to be their county assessor for the last 4 years, and I would appreciate your support and your votes and allow me to be your assessor for the next 4 years. Thank you.
I have a question. Please, Mr. Bill Knowles, from the World Journal.
Okay, this is a question from the audience. And this relates back to the bond and the issues that the school board was bringing up. What is the guarantee that the money that you collect will go to the schools?
Unfortunately, I do not have an answer for that because I, as the assessor in charge, to place whatever, if the bond initiative passed or whatever mill levy passed, by Colorado statute, I am charged. I have to apply that bond or that mill levy to all properties within the district. As the assessor, I have no control over where the money goes. I merely place the mill levy on all properties within the district. So I do not have an answer for that. Then the county treasurer, you would pay your taxes, county treasurer collects it, then the county treasurer would disperse it to the school district. You're welcome.
Any other questions? Jody, is there anything else you would like to say, or did that incorporate everything?
That incorporates anything and everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here this evening. Very nice. Next up, we will hear from the Los Angeles County Sheriff candidate, Mr. Derek Navarrete.
Good evening, citizens, Los Angeles County, and fellow candidates. My name is Derek Navarrete. I am seeking the office of sheriff. Many have asked me why I want to do this, and my response is Los Angeles County is my home. I was raised here. My family has deep roots here. My wife Cheryl and I chose to raise our children in this community. I take a great sense of pride in serving to protect all residents and their families because this community is very important to me. I am fully committed to continue to serve and accept the challenges and responsibilities that the office of sheriff brings. In 1996, I was hired by the sheriff's office as a detention officer at the jail when it was housed at the courthouse. And little did I know at that time that this would be the beginning of a career in law enforcement that I hadn't really thought about. Spanning 22 years, 20 of which have been proudly spent serving Los Angeles County. After working as a detention officer, I was promoted to patrol deputy, patrol sergeant, and then I was promoted on to undersheriff. It's a position I have held for the last 15 and a half years. And I'm very proud of the fact that I have worked my way through the ranks of the sheriff's office. And along the way, I've gained valuable experience from many great supervisors, mainly former Sheriff James Casillas, who I owe a great debt of gratitude for giving me the opportunity to work under his guidance and leadership for all those years. Currently, I am acting sheriff since James retired in May of this year. In recent years, our county, as everyone well knows, has fallen on many difficult financial hardships. All county departments have struggled mightily with limited budgets, and the Sheriff's Office has been no exception to this. If I had ever thought about leaving the law enforcement profession, the past few years would have been reason enough, yet I'm still here, and along with the great, dedicated staff, we have endured the tough times trying to stay within our operating expense budgets. We have worked countless numbers of hours, most of which were without overtime pay. But through all this adversity, we stood together to provide the safety for the residents despite all the shortfalls. I truly believe that through all this, I have gained the respect and support from the majority of my staff, and have definitely earned my respect for their effort and unselfish commitment to this agency. During my time at the Sheriff's Office, we had realized many accomplishments despite the budget restrictions. We've acquired much needed equipment, technology through the assistance of grants and also with the county's assistance. I see a brighter future not only for the Sheriff's Office, but for all county departments. If elected as Sheriff, I pledge that I will strive to continue to work together with the District Attorney's Office, all law enforcement agencies, to aggressively investigate dangerous, illegal drug crimes, violent criminal activity in our city and county that has been occurring in the past few years. I vow to bring those violators to justice. I will work closely with all elected officials and departments to gain and promote unity. We cannot move forward in a positive direction without cooperation and a unification amongst all. In closing, if you believe that I'm a worthy candidate for this position, I would truly be honored to serve, and I humbly ask for your support. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Navarrete. Does the panel have any questions they would like to pose to Mr. Navarrete from theirs or from the audience?
Yes, Eli DeBono, KCRT. Mr. Navarrete, a question from the audience. How will you make our community safer for kids, and what can and will you do differently?
Well, first of all, we try getting our staff upgraded, more people on our staff is what I'm trying to get. We'll be on the streets more, patrolling. As of now, we're kind of limited in our staffing. I have recently have 3 new hires that I will be having come aboard, so that will help greatly to get out in the community, be more visible, be more proactive. At this point, we're being a lot more reactive to calls, but in the future, I hope that will change with more staffing and better training.
Mr. Knowles.
Bill Knowles with the World Journal. This is a question from the audience. I won't quite clear on this, but do you support the 2A? And if so, what are your thoughts on red flag?
I don't understand that question.
And then another one from the audience. As the only constitutional law enforcement authority in Los Animas County, how do you feel you would perform in representing the people of Los Animas County in dispute with federal agencies?
Like stated before, I am willing to work with all agencies in any capacity that we can. I'm not opposed to working with any law enforcement agency, district attorney's office. With that close relationship, I think we could get more done. So I am more than willing to work with any agencies.
Any questions? Mr. Navarrete, other comments you'd like to make?
No, other than that, I just pledge that I will do my best if elected. And if there are any questions, any other concerns, you can call our office. I will speak to you. I'll come see you. So my office is open.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for being here this evening, Mr. Derek Hammer. Up next, we have candidate for Los Animas County Coroner, Mr. Jimmy Rooker. Mr. Rooker.
see Junior Burke on the ballot. You might see Dominic, so I'm the same person. Okay? Nobody knows me as Dominic hardly, but anyway. Good evening. Thanks for taking your time to share this evening with us. Much appreciated. I'm running for re-election in the Los Angeles County Coroner in Los Angeles County. I first was elected in 2010. I served as a deputy coroner under then Mr. Rob Bukovac from 2008 2009. Kind of learned the ropes of the business. At that time, the business was pretty dull. We had maybe 20 deaths a year, something like that. It was pretty easy job. Rob decided not to endure the headaches anymore of the job, if you will. So in 2010, he decided not to run. So I chose to run, and I was elected again in 2014 and up for re-election again in 2018. Our county has changed tremendously. As I mentioned earlier, from 20 deaths a year up to 52 to 57. We've had up to 75 deaths a year in our Los Angeles County. So do the math, that's over 6 a month, over 1 a week. So we are pretty busy. Again, the financial constraints of the county affect everybody from law enforcement to county offices to my office. Mine's a non-revenue generating office. I don't make money, I spend money. And we try to do that as little as possible. But with state regulations, down with this federal regulations, we have to abide by the rules. I'm a member of the Colorado Courts Association. I'm a fully pledged death investigator, along with my chief deputy coroner in Trinidad. We have a couple others that kind of help us out with menial tasks in the office. So it's kind of hard to take the vacation together. Maybe that's good, maybe that's bad, I don't know. I go one place, she goes another place different times. I'm not sure how that works. But anyway, kind of you got to be dedicated to this job. It's in your heart. You're helping people of all kinds, whether they're citizens of Los Angeles County or passers-by on the highway. We have quite a few deaths in our county. We start from the Raton Pass of 0 up to mile marker 39 on the interstate, and that's a pretty busy section of highway. So anyway, long story short, I'm here for re-election. I love the job. I love serving people. I love working with the public, and I ask for your support in the re-election again. Thank you.
Any questions from the panel that they would like to pose to Mr. Berger, our candidate for county coroner? None from the audience. Mr. Berger, is there anything else you'd like to say, or have you delivered your message?
Thanks all for coming.
Thank you all. All right, thank you very much. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here this evening. Thanks so much. Now, I think I want to make a little bit of change, a small change on the itinerary or scheduling this evening, because at this point we are running pretty good on time. So I'd like to, instead of after intermission, begin with the other offices that are there. I'd like to bring the, and if it's okay with the two candidates, Patricia Peachtree-Hill and Mr. H.L. Bowman. If we would like to come up now, we will reschedule that intermission for once your presentations and your questioning period has concluded. So if both of you are ready to come up here, Mr. Bowman in the audience. I know he's here, I just don't see him. Maybe in the lobby reception area, if anybody is, I know this may be out of line, so maybe he may not be prepared at this point, but I think he is. Have a seat wherever you feel comfortable. You know, while I'm waiting, I do have a letter here that I should deliver the message to you. Again, I'm getting a little remiss with the evening, but I'll give you the information. This letter, or this few comments that were provided this evening by Los Angeles County Treasurer Donna Leonetti, again, who couldn't be here because of recent surgery. Her words read as follows: "Greeting to meet the candidates tonight. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this night's event, and want to thank all of you for your past and present support for me as your county treasurer. I want to assure you that all of us in the treasurer's office will serve the public to the best of our abilities. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I want to wish all the candidates Godspeed. I also wish I could have been here with all of you fine people tonight, but unfortunately I had a hip replacement and I am currently hobbled at home and healing for at least a week. Finally, I want to wish my fellow Democratic candidates the best of luck in the upcoming election. Wishing all of you blue skies and soft winds. Thank you, Donna, Lee, and Eddie. And I see Mr. Bowman approaching. Again, once we conclude this portion with the candidates for Los Angeles County Clerk and Recorder, we will have a brief intermission of approximately 10 minutes. We will resume and take it through the conclusion of the evening. So this evening we have with us Los Angeles County Clerk and Recorder candidates, and I guess the best order to put it is ladies before gentlemen. So therefore I will call to the podium first Ms. Patricia Peachley Hill.
I always have to adjust the mic because I'm taller than everybody else. I would like to thank Trinidad and Los Angeles County Chamber of Commerce and Trinidad State Junior College for accommodating this occasion tonight. Quick background check on myself is I was hired in the county clerk's office in the year of 2000. I learned from the ground up. There are several functions that take place in my office, which are not just selling license plates, but handling every kind of license that you can imagine. Liquor license, marriage license, recording of real estate documents. I also was trained in bookkeeping since probably the second year that I was there. I took over the elections in the year of 2003, and at that time we had a 2004 presidential election coming up. That was my biggest one, and that was quite a challenge. But I was put in charge of that by the Honorable Mr. Bernard J. Gonzalez because he had full faith and trust in me that I could do that, which I did. In 2006, we were faced upon federal regulations, which is what we call HAVA, when we had to implement a brand new voting system that was electronic and was able to accommodate voters with disabilities. I was successful in that task. In the year 2009, I was promoted again by Mr. Gonzalez as the Director of Elections. After that, he recommended my intent to seek the office of County Clerk and Recorder in 2014, for which I was successful again. Since then, I have implemented a brand new recording system. That was in the year 2015. The recording system that we had in place was old and needed to be replaced. This recording system is networked between my office and the county assessor and the county treasurer. So it all begins in the office of the county clerk and recorder. If you purchase a property or make any kind of refinance, it starts in my office. It's then passed down to the county assessor who assesses the property, and then the county treasurer who implements the tax. After that, we got, in 2017, a brand new voting system. So it was my second voting system that I got to implement, and it's been a great success. We ran the 2017 coordinated election and the primary election this year very successfully. I have a great team of election judges, including students. I was honored to be asked to attend Trinidad High School yesterday and speak to their American government classes and encourage students to register to vote, which we all know we need new voters coming in so long as we're all educated as to what we're voting on, and a new team of election judges, which are including students. Students are very, very helpful. They're very apt and equipped on computer programming and technology, so that's exciting. This election is going to be the biggest one that we conduct with the new system, but I have all faith in my staff and my judges, so it's going to be exciting. This year, the Department of Revenue forced us into a new motor vehicle system for which we title and register vehicles. That's been quite a bit of a challenge, so I would like to take a moment to commend my staff for one thing, because they have been rolling with some punches. There's been quite a few bugs and issues that we were forced into, and that's throughout the state of Colorado. So I have a great staff right now they're getting after it. I have 2 new staff members, and they have to be commended for that. All of this that I've accomplished has been aforementioned with very limited staffing and budget constraints. So right now I'm sitting at 50% of my budget while making all of this happen, and I'm pretty proud of that. So going forth, I think what I have to say mostly is that mine is not an office that you can just walk into and take over. I've been there for 18 years, and I was taught by the very best, Mr. Bernard Gonzalez. So everything that I have to put forth into my office is institutional knowledge. We are keeping up with ever-changing statutes every single day and every single year. I'm almost done. At this time, I would also like to thank my husband, Christopher V. Hill, my father, Ben Mestis, for handling my campaign issues while I'm at work. I would like to thank my daughters, Carly and Sydney, for putting up with Mom not being home as much as she usually is. And I'd also like to take a moment of silence for the passing of 2 very important members of our Democratic Party. Most importantly, to my heart, was my Chief Deputy Sean Sescalini and Mr. Daniel Espinoza. If we can all just stay quiet for a minute. I'm good. Do I have questions?
The next presentation by opening statement will be for the office of Los Angeles County Clerk and Recorder, Mr. H.L. Baldwin.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time. Thank you, Chamber. It's hard to be up here. You know, I've known Peach my whole life. I've known her dad. I've known her family. I know Chris. I personally had a bad experience there, and I want to change things. I think that somewhere along the line with our society, we've forgotten that customer service should be number 1. We need to take care of our people. Peach has, implemented some new systems, and she's been there 18 years, but her experience is limited because it's all new. So me coming in there isn't going to change anything. I've been in close contact with the Secretary of State, Wayne Williams. I've been texting him back and forth, and I'm concerned about this. I don't want to go in there and look stupid. He assured me that I'm not the first clerk that's going to come in there with no knowledge. He said that the state will more than happy back me up, help me with whatever I need help with. And I've been doing my own due diligence. I've been with 2 other clerks from 2 other counties that have welcomed me into their office, and we begin to get ready for this. Whether I win or lose, I want to be ready. A lot of you guys don't know me. I'm not out in the public, I try to stick to myself. I've got an 18-month-old son at home. Family's important to me, along with our community. I understand that if I am elected, Peach isn't going to be there anymore, and that bothers me. And I pray for her and her family. I thank you guys for being here. Just know that going into this office, I do not want to embarrass my family. I don't want to embarrass myself. So if I'm going in there, I'm going in there to represent all of us as taxpayers and do what's best for the community. Thank you.
Okay, question, gather a microphone close, because any questions that you'll be answering will be questions coming from the panel?
This one actually was directed to both, but I'm going to have it directed to both if we could. What is your opinion of the current city budget, and in general, how it will affect your office?
You mean county budget?
County budget.
County budget, yes.
As I mentioned in my speech, I'm well within my own personal budget, but we all know that we do have the issues going forward. I would love to say that since we passed our sales tax and debruced last year, that we were making leaps and bounds, but honestly, it has taken a little bit. It's not leaps and bounds, it's baby steps right now. So that's where we're at. We're trying to move forward. We are gaining, but it's just a little bit at a time.
Mr. Bowman.
Can you repeat that question?
Sure. What is your opinion of the current county budget and how it will affect your office?
You know, I'm not real familiar with it. I will know more about it as we get into this. You know, I hear Peach saying that, you know, she's within 50% of her budget. You know, that's all fun and great, but the problem with that is that, you know, it's good to be under budget, but it's also good to be staffed and to be taken care of with the budget.
Mr. Eli DeBono, KCRT.
Directed to Mr. H.L. Bowman. What kind of expectations do you ask of yourself and your staff if you are elected to this position?
Well, I'll tell you this. All my family, all my life I've worked. It's important to me to be a leader, not just a manager, a leader. And by being a leader, that means that, you know, if that office opens at 7:30, I'm going to be there at 7:20. If that office closes at 4:30, I'm going to be there till 4:45. You know, what my expectations of my employees there is going to be the same expectations of me.
Next question.
Bill Knowles, World Journal. I'm going to direct this to both candidates. What can you speak to as far as federal mandates, for example, the various acts such as HAVA, the NURA, and NCOA?
HAVA is the Help America Vote Act, which was passed in 2003, I believe, which was the federal mandate that required us to have 88 accessible voting machines that were to be in place by 2006. NVRA is the National Voter Registration Act, which requires us to maintain a complete list of voter registrations, including the cancellation of voters who have deceased or have not voted for a minute. NCOA is the National Change of Address Act that requires us to follow with postal regulations when people move. We are required to send notices out to the voter and ask them, are you still here? Do you still live here? Would you like to change your address? Please respond and let us know before we waste money spending postage and paper ballots to mail to you.
So I've talked to a couple of postal workers, and they've expressed to me this concern because there's a lot of money wasted in that. I don't know the exact numbers of mail that was mailed back, but you know that's coming out of the county budget as well, and I think that needs to be recognized and needs to be fixed.
I can speak further to that. We also bill back to every participating entity and jurisdiction that is coordinating with our ballots for us to mail them. We bill back a portion of that to those entities. So it is part of the county budget as far as county is concerned, but we also get a reimbursement from the state of Colorado at the rate of 90 cents per voter after every general election.
Another question?
Yeah, I've got one more from the audience here. It's to HL. While we all know that you would like to meet and greet customers daily, do you have any specific experience that relates to the functions of the office?
You know, I'll be honest with you. My customer experience, dealing with customers, started at 11 years old. I used to mow lawns, and you know that was back in the day. And I used to make $10 a mom. And at 11 years old, I was bringing $150 home a week. I busted my butt, and there was a reason those people called me back. After that, you know, after I got out of high school, well, actually during high school, I worked for King Soopers as a union steward for King Soopers for 7 years. And I don't know if anybody is familiar with King Soopers and Kroger, but their #1 policy is customer service. You know, when I started there, the customer was always right. If there was a can of beans that someone said was a penny, you know what, you gave it to them for a penny. And the reason that was, is they believe that, you know what, we keep the customers happy, they're gonna keep coming back. You know, that penny means nothing.
I would disagree on that because that may be true for private enterprise, but in government you have statutes and policy that you have to keep in place. So, in fact, the customer is not always right.
But you're accountable for that, and the reason you have a job is because
that's why we're
Okay, I'll remind the candidates again, you'll be post questions. This is not a debate this evening. You're just providing responses to questions that are asked, so we will not debate issues at this particular point. Any more questions? Mr. Eli Bourne from KCRT.
For Mr. H.L. Bowman, if elected, what would you do differently than your predecessor, and what would you do better? And what do you feel is the key to success when communicating with the public?
Well, you know, I can't say that the lines are going to go down, but what I can say is, you know what, I'm going to be out there with my staff, trying to provide service and get them out of there. The other thing is with that being said, you know, I take this personal. It's my personal responsibility. That would be my office. I don't want people waiting in line. And like I said, there may be lines, but you know what? I'm going to address you. I'm going to come out. I'm going to tell you, hey, you know what? We're doing our best to get you out of here. I'm helping. I'll do whatever I can to get you out of here. But that's what matters. That's what matters is just the communication. Just to come out of that office and say, hey, I understand you guys are waiting. I'm going to do my best to get you guys out of here. And you know what? If I have to get on that computer, if I've got to do whatever I got to do, I'm going to do it to satisfy our taxpayers.
More questions? All right, then I invite Mr. Hill to come up with closing statement. You have 5 minutes.
Well, as mentioned, this is not a debate. I mean, we can agree to disagree, but the bottom line is the long lines of waiting are things that were beyond our control as every single elected official. So I would love to be out there and shaking everybody's hand all day long. Unfortunately, I'm the backbone in that office and I have other functions to take care of. Not only do I sit at that desk, but I have another office across the hall where I'm back and forth. So I would love to be able to sit out and be a social person, but if that's something that I'm not able to do, I apologize, and I apologize that it upsets anyone or offends anyone. But the bottom line is, I have a job that needs to get done, and we have staff that is available for at the front counter to take care of those issues. Yes, it's been hard, it's been a struggle in our financial status for the last few years, but it's getting there, and we will get there again. That's my closing statement.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Bowman, you've got 5 minutes.
Okay, excuse me. Regardless of my experience or my lack of experience in the office of questioning, you know, we have to decide, you know, does this really benefit the community? Is this what the community deserves and desires? Unfortunately, small town races are often popularity contests and not about what is best for the office or for the community. Peach, thank you for what you do. Thank you for your service. I understand what you're saying. There's other jobs that need to be done. But, you know, my personal experience is there, and I've talked to tons of people. They're tired of not being acknowledged and their problems not being solved. That's the reason I'm running. I waited a year and 3 months for plates. And you know what? The blame got passed around over and over again. And you know what? That stinks. That stinks. And thank God I'm in a position where I'm blessed and I have another truck. Nothing was done. And the blame was from the state to Linnell to, it was crazy. And you know what? Finally, I called the state myself, and guess what call I got the next morning? Your plates are ready. That's not okay, and we need to be held to a higher standard than that. I'm sorry, that's the way it is.
Again, I want to thank and express gratitude to both the candidates that have been here this evening and made their presentations and answered questions. We will take a short intermission. By the looks of the stats and questions that are coming in, I think we need to resume in about 10 minutes. So let's just take a quick 10-minute break. I ask that when you come back, I ask the 4 candidates for county commissioners to be seated at these tables so we come back so that we can immediately begin. The time right now is 7:11. Let's be back here at 7:30.